We are live. Hey, podcast listening people. Connor Doobie here. Welcome to B2B Mentors. I have a treat for you today. A guest interview with two CMO, I'm going to say whisperers, right? They've been experts in marketing, branding, and working diligently with CMOs to create success. Don't forget, you can find this podcast on all your favorite podcast apps, iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify. Make sure you subscribe. Go there. And with that, let's roll. Hey folks, welcome to Marketing Unscripted. Our topic today, make sure you jump in, share this video. If you're watching this live or after the fact, give it a little like, give it a little comment. Let us know your thoughts. If you want to jump in and ask questions as we're going, and please make sure you share this. If not even for you, I guarantee you there's somebody in your audience who will benefit from this information. So with that, I'm going to bring my guests up here today, Bruce Hershey and Steve Olensky, legends, and about to become bigger legends. Now that I got you on the B2B Mentors podcast, welcome, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Bruce, is it weird being in the chocolate family? I mean, do you just like live in a chocolate house, and is there mansions? Like, what's the deal with that?
No, I am not part of the chocolate family, although there is a connection way down the funnel. But it got me in a lot of trouble as a young man, whether it was with the fun names being called or the ladies wanting some Hershey kisses. So
I guarantee you've had to have used the name before.
I've been happily married for 30 years, so but we still have a lot of fun with it.
So did you ever use the Hershey's name to like get your foot in the door with the Hershey's CMO? Because I mean, that would be like the obvious thing to go after.
No, not at all. I mean, I let the name try to just do itself. I don't like to take advantage of it at all. It helps a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's more of a reminder or memory, right? I mean, your last name Hershey, it sort of sticks. So that's a good thing for me.
It's like if your last name was Doobie and you grew up in the state of Colorado, you know?
Right. Exactly.
So I'll go from who I got next to me and just give you guys a chance to give a little bit of background. And I'm going to give you permission to brag about yourself, which I know is hard, but it's important for people to know what you've accomplished over the years and why I've decided to have you as my first guest interview of 2022. So Steve, if you want to kick off and let's hear a little bit about what brought you to where you're at in your life and career today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Connor. I really appreciate being on here. And you guys can go take a break. I can spend the whole show just talking about myself. So it's not a big deal. No, to your point, Connor, it is, Bruce and I have known each other for about 10 years. And we are both cut from the same cloth of being very humble to a fault. My career path, I like to say, has been as straight as a circle. I've done so many different things, from being a creative director at different ad agencies, copywriter, to holding senior marketing roles, to being a Forbes contributing writer for 10 years. It's just been an incredible journey to get to where I am. All this without graduating college, never taking a writing course in my life, but somehow getting it into the pantheon of kind of these top tier publications like Forbes. I've written for Ad Age, Adweek. I've spoken around the world. I've gotten to meet more leaders, more celebrities, more entertainers than I could possibly imagine. And at the heart of who I am are my relationships. And that's really my goal, and that's my currency. And at the top of the list is the fellow sitting next to me, is Bruce Hershey, who I consider a brother. And we've been close ever since I met him, and he'll tell you about his background. And I'll leave it at that.
All right, we'll definitely dive into that more. Bruce,
He's very
let's hear
humble.
from you.
He actually, you just won contributor, or you were recognized as contributor of the year.
I did.
I see.
I did. Yeah, I did. Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, you two can brag about each other then. We'll do it that
It's
way.
much easier.
Exactly. That's easier. Once again, thank you for having us, Connor, on the show. I'm honored to be here and share my background. I've been a marketer since I was in college or even before college. I actually was an entrepreneur early on. I started some businesses in college and sold those, and then went out to the open market. And I started my career actually in minor league hockey, which was an amazing experience for me because to talk about grassroots and rolling your sleeves up with zero budget. That was a very fun, humbling experience. Did that for 5 years and knocked the cover off the ball doing that, and then dovetailed into the brand side once again in home building. And then I left that actually after about 5 years and started another business, which was really SMS, and did mobile web and mobile apps, and grew that over 3 years, and then was acquired by that as well. And then I joined Merkle, who acquired me at the time, and grew that business with another partner of mine that was there as well, and just had an amazing journey working with some of the largest brands in the world across many different verticals, from healthcare to CPG to QSR to technology. The list goes on, and did some other things after that, and then eventually I went back to the brand side and was the head of marketing for Men's Warehouse, and then ultimately we labeled ourselves as Tailored Brands and oversaw all 5 brands there. I started as the VP of brand, and then I went over as the head of marketing within about a year and a half into the tenure there for 5 years, and it was an amazing experience. So branding, marketing, e-com, if you will, digital marketing. It was just an amazing experience, and now I've decided to take another venture on my own as well. And so I have, Steve and I have a little bit of a consulting going on with Running with Scissors. And then at the top of that, I've also formed another organization, a pizzeria. So now we're looking to grow that pizzeria over and over again. So really excited.
Out of all of your experiences, pizza, like why pizza?
Yeah, it's a great question. Actually, my wife and I, we met in a pizzeria 30 years ago in high school. And I was making pizzas and she was waitressing. And we fell in love with each other, but we also fell in love with pizza. And I've been making pizza at home for friends and family for that long, and just fine tuning it, going through the motions and just making fun and love out of it, right? And my wife got tired of me having flour all over the kitchen, all over the house by flipping the dough around and all that. And so we decided to take the step that we've been wanting to do for a long time and just go buy an existing pizzeria, rebrand it, and grow. And we've been doing that. We've had it for 9 months now, and we've been blessed.
So between the both of you, a lot of experience in the marketing, branding, building world. What, going into 2022, what is top of mind for you in the areas that CMOs need to be focused on right now?
Yeah, I'll jump in, Bruce, if you don't mind. I think one of the biggest things for CMOs is acknowledging, I know this is going to sound like very obvious, but the world has changed forever, right? I know the pandemic, everybody says, well, no kidding, Steve, the world's changed. But there's a lot of repercussions for marketers, what that means, right? And CMOs, that the way people shop, the way people experience, the way people consume a given brand, the experience has forever changed. And it doesn't matter if it's B2B or B2C. We're all different, and we're never going back to the way it was. And some marketers, as Bruce will attest to, because he was an aberration to this and always was, but there's a lot of marketers stuck in their old school ways who think they're still in control. They'll decide what consumers want, and when they want it, how they want it. That's done. And the pandemic has completely obliterated any thoughts of that. At least it should in marketers' minds. And the smart marketer realizes that they're no longer in control. They haven't been in control for years, but now it's even been more exacerbated by the pandemic. And they need to adjust, right? And be able to adjust on the fly to what consumers are doing and their wants and their needs and their desires. And with that comes a need for technology as well. And the technology space is incredibly crowded, so it can get very overwhelming. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole just yet. Maybe we will in this conversation. But the technology side of the customer experience, the importance of that cannot be overstated. And I'll stop now and yield to my my partner.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, right? I think, definitely it's changed, but, I think it's changed for the better, especially from a marketing perspective. I think it's created so much opportunity for us to really lean into digital more than ever before, right? You've always heard over and over, I would say for the last 10 years, oh, it's the year of digital, everything's going digital, everything's going digital. You keep hearing about it, but I think the pandemic just amplified it, right? It really enabled us as marketers to really touch consumers a different way, right? And leads a different way. And when I think about this, I think about adjusting the strategy. It used to be like, oh, I'm going to plan my 1 year, 3 year, 5 year strategy. No. You don't do that anymore. You have to, you have to do that on a quarterly basis. Sure, you want to map out your goals and objectives. I mean, you have to have those, right? You want to make sure you put those vision goals out there and those KPI objectives so you can go hit those milestones to grow the business. But building a strategy for a long term, from a marketing perspective, it doesn't make sense anymore because things are evolving so much. You want to make sure that you're evolving with the consumer, with the lead, right? You want to make sure that you're staying in front of them, no more behind them, because they've been in front of us for a long time. Now it's time for the marketers to really lean into that and leverage those, but in a very sophisticated way. Just by spraying and praying doesn't mean that you're going to win, right? It means that you're just going to waste money. So you want to make sure that you really leverage data, insights, understand your targets, understand really what you're trying to achieve, and get them on that journey that's going to enable you to really drive conversion. And that's really what it's all about. I mean, engagement is great, right? We all want engagement, but what happens after engagement is really the important part of it. So I look at this and say, look, make sure you really look at your strategy at a really, really finite level, and don't go long term, short term. Make sure that you have executive leadership support. You want to make sure that that's there, and that you show the leadership why it's important to lean in this now. Like Steve said, technology, you can go down that rabbit hole forever. But there's certain technologies you can win with now. Stay in the lane and expand and land later. But focus on what you can right now. Grow it, prove yourself, go get the budget you want, develop the content that's going to connect, right? And connect it with that really matters. And then really make sure that at the end of the day, you're focused. You're always in the driver's seat. You're not taking your foot off the pedal, right? You can't do that. You can't just say, okay, I'm planned, I'm ready to go. We're just going to put on autopilot and go. No, you have to stay in the game. You have to watch it.
If I could add just one thing, Connor, to that too, is I think one thing marketers need to, and CMOs and on down need to give consumers credit that we consumers are smarter than they think, right? Consumers know businesses are in business to make money. We get that, right? But with things like third-party cookie deprecation coming, which we can talk about, when Google's going to stop, providing that and tracking that, brands need to understand that consumers are a lot savvier than they think we all are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you hit a good point too, Bruce, and kind of a running theme. I hosted a B2B marketing mastermind last Friday, and we had some significantly high-level CMOs, marketing directors in that room last week. And I think the marketing plan side of things, a lot of marketers, they develop out their plan for the year or 5 years, and then they don't touch it again until, December of the year, planning the next year. But the most successful that I've witnessed are revisiting not only quarterly, but monthly and also weekly and daily. Yep. And I think 2022 is the year of the marketers in the sense that we got to get away from the bullshit of vanity metrics, likes, and all this is fine and dandy. Exactly. But how do you actually match it with revenue? Because the pressure is on the marketers so much more now than it was in prior years. We can't fly our sales team to go meet with our prospects as often, nor do they want to, nor do the prospects want it. So the reliance on digital is so heavy. The challenge, and I'm hoping I can pull this out of you guys, how do you effectively, in the B2B world, how should I effectively be looking at my digital roadmap for, the next couple quarters even? Where would you start if you were stepping into a business from scratch?
I mean, for me, the first thing to do is really understand the business, right? If I'm stepping into a new organization, it's really understanding what's there, what's not there, right? And then on top of that, which is the umbrella, is that what are the goals of the organization? What are those objectives? I mean, if you don't understand that, the business plan in the beginning, walking in as a marketer, you're going to fail. You have to understand what those are first, understand the business, understand where the gaps are, because you can create the greatest plan in the world.
Have you found a lot of marketers are just disconnected from the total actual business plan? Something the CEO is looking at, the CMO may have no visibility to. And maybe not because of any faults of their own.
Right. And they may have visibility, they just didn't have any input.
Right.
That is the challenge, is that the CMO or the director or the VP doesn't have a seat at the table all the time, especially in B2B, right? B2C is a little bit better, but the gap at B2B is like, oh, we're operations, we're gonna tell you what to do. Well, hold on, the marketer is going to enable you to make sure that can be done. And there's some of these big, bright ideas that just can't be done in that month or that quarter. It may happen in 2 quarters down the road. So you have to make sure you truly understand the business model, and what are those goals and objectives. Because if you don't, you're going to build a plan, you're not going to hit the mark, right? And you're not going to be able to say, whoa, we're not going to be able to do this because I don't have the right technology in place. I don't have enough team members in place. I don't have enough budget in place to go hit this. If you want me to go drive, 500 leads a month, I need budget, I need people, I need content, I need technology. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't do this by myself. And unfortunately, as you know, Connor, and a lot of marketers know in B2B, the teams are typically smaller than on the B2C side, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't really understand the value of what marketing is. And marketing is every bit of sales than sales is, right? Marketing is enabling sales, and those two have to be very connected. And typically they're not. Sales is off doing, their presentations, doing their playbooks, driving, to the customer. But at the end of the day, that's great. But what is that comms? What does that funnel look like, right? And understanding that funnel and maximizing from the tofu, the mofu, and the bofu, right? You have to understand what's happening, each of those layers of comms. And then when you get to the bottom of the funnel, how are you going to enable that customer or lead to be able to be an advocate from you? Because advocacy is a full circle part of this, right? So just closing a deal is one thing, but actually getting an advocacy behind that and using those use cases to tell that story is also another component, because that's going to allow you to really create content. That content is going to connect, because other marketers or other businesses are going to be like, whoa. So this customer is successful and they followed this journey and this strategy. Absolutely, right? So there's many different ways to look at this, but I got to tell you, you have to really dig into the business. If you don't, you're just building a plan for you, not for the business.
I think you also have to add in too, Bruce, the why, right? As we've talked about so often, the Simon Sinek, right? Start with the why. Mm-hmm. Why are you in business? What are you doing? Why are you doing what you do? Yep. Right. And then that, to elaborate on Bruce's point, your whole staff needs to know that and live that. Why are you in business? Don't just say to make money. Why are you doing what you do? Right.
Yeah. If we would have waited today, would it matter?
Exactly. That's a really hard. That's a question every single business needs, regardless of industry, needs to ask itself.
So what are the nuances in operating, leadership in a B2B marketing scenario versus business to consumer? Because I think we're finding more and more that there is a lot more crossover, and you see a lot of old, archaic, boring industries that are starting to operate more like consumer brands in some sense. So what are the nuances in that you guys have seen?
I mean, I'll take it. I'll jump in, Steve, if you want. Mm-hmm. I was on the B2B. I was on both sides, back and forth through my career, and I will say that, I was in my last, was B2C, and then I went to B2B, and I did that for about a year and a half, if you will. And when I walked into the organization, the challenging part was they didn't have the technology. So that's a nuance, right? They were using Salesforce as an example for ticketing, not for funnel or sales management, if you will. They didn't have any automation. They were sending emails out of Outlook as an example, thinking that was great, right? And it can be okay. But at the end of the day, the nuances are really the content, right? And the content doesn't have to be B2B, doesn't have to be as rigid as it used to be. We're talking to human beings here. They are consumers. So let's not make that mistake. And for me, one of the techniques that I love to leverage when it comes to content from taking some B2C elements and bringing them to B2B is having a conversation with these customers that connects with them outside of their daily life, right? It doesn't have to be about, hey, we're the best. We're going to give you this great technology. We're going to give you this great service. No, hit them in moments that matter outside their daily lives. It can be sports related. It can be, social related. It can be family related. There's this many other ways to leverage content other than just we're selling you something, or we have another webinar coming up. Like, those are great. Those should be part of your plan, but it shouldn't be every aspect of content you're putting out there. And I think the nuances.
The one word I would add, and I'm sure Bruce is thinking this inherently, is storytelling, right? How we tell stories is just this. To me, it's the same. To Bruce's point, if it's B2B or B2C, is you're still talking to a human being. You're hitting that emotional quotient. You want to hit that level, right? That's the mistake. And to Bruce's point, I'm seeing more and more B2B companies, brands realize that it's not just that business to business, old school, I will sell to a title, right? I will engage a title. No, I will engage a human being.
That's correct.
And that's the difference.
That human to human touch. I'm so glad you brought that up, Steve, because the emotional element is so important, right? And having that human to human touch, because today with technology, as Steve pointed out, is that it's easy to pump content out there. Wash, rinse, repeat, go, go, go. But is it really connecting? Are you really making a difference? Is your brand standing out? Or are you just following the herd? Right?
And is there true value in that too? Or are you just checking a box because it's on your marketing plan?
Checking the box. And look, and I love like the Canvas of the world, those are great, right? There's nothing wrong with those. But what it's doing, in my humble opinion, it's allowing marketers to just create content for the sake of creating content, right? And to your point earlier, Connor, it's not about these vanity metrics. I'll lean into the pizza business real quick. Like, some people ask me, well, Bruce, you haven't increased your likes or your followers. I go, I don't really care because I've increased my revenue by 4x in 9 months. I don't really care about those metrics. They don't matter to me. What I care about is connecting and driving revenue and creating an amazing experience for our customers, not just from a food perspective, but from a customer service perspective.
Yeah.
When you do that, and you create that emotional connection to it, they're going to be sticky.
It's easy to get caught up in how many followers do we have on our LinkedIn page? Yep. But at the end of the day, is it, like I've put hundreds and hundreds of videos out over the years, and it's consistent, but they're not getting like thousands of likes on my videos. But once a week, once every other day, I have someone message me, hey dude, I've been seeing your content. I love it. Right. Can we work together? And so, because it's connecting, but it's just that one person who may not be identifying themselves, but is observing your brand, is researching you, is looking at you over your competitors as well.
So Connor, to your point, like you're getting a few leads off those, right? And at the end of the day, those leads are generating revenue for you. So it doesn't, as we all know here, do I want 100 leads? Sure. But I'd rather have 10 qualified marketing leads.
100%.
Right.
100%. But here's the trick. How do I, as the CMO, and this is coming from the community that I've built of marketers, and they're sharing this with me. How do I sell my CEO, my CFO, that I need more budget to do, live streams, to do connection, to do the stuff that's almost immeasurable? Because it's hard to measure if I'm putting out great content for long periods of time. people are watching me, but they don't reach out or buy from us 6 months, 12 months, 24 months down the road? How do I convince my leadership to get budget for stuff like that?
Well, I think there's a balance, right? I think that leadership is always on, they always look at those metrics. How many leads do we get in the funnel, right? How many leads converted through the funnel? Like, you have to have this balance where you're going to maintain what's happening and what the ask is, but you also have to leverage data and insights to go prove another journey that you're going to take the brand on, right? So there's this, I need action side of the house, right? Okay, we're going to create that action for you. But there's this other version and journey you're going to take, a strategy you're going to take the brand on that's going to be more content focused. It's going to elevate the brand outside of those leads, but still generate qualified leads, not just leads coming through the funnel. Oh, wait, like I said, I got 100 of them, but how many actually converted? And that's what gets really frustrating when you're talking about, funnel management, is that, some brands will get 1,000 leads. Okay, great. What happened with them? Because you're not just dealing with technology, you're dealing with humans. You're dealing with a Salesforce, or you're dealing with an SDR that picks that phone and tries to qualify that lead, if you will. So there's many layers to that. But to me, I always leverage data insights. And when I can prove and tell a story to the leadership that, hey, yes, we're doing this. This is the way that it's always been done. We're making some tweaks to it, but here's the new way. And that balance will start to come up. Right? And the new way will start to prevail, and you'll start to get action with it more so than just driving content to create leads that don't convert. So you have to have focus. You have to have a plan. You have to adjust the plan. At the end of the day, how I've succeeded is data showing that what we're doing on both sides of the spectrum are working. And once again, there are fundamentals in place that you should always do. SEO, SEM. Do those things. You need to do those to be competitive, right? You have to. But at the end of the day, Connor, to go back to your point about content, create that content, show that it's working, show that it's converting, and then you'll prove to leadership that, yes, this is the right way to do it. Because make no mistake about it, those circles of influences will really drive that CEO, COO to say, yes, we should be doing this more and more.
In a way, you almost have to, Bruce and Connor, you have to market your marketing. Right, to the rest of the C-suite. Right, well, if you think about it that way.
Well said.
So that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had more. I was gonna let you roll.
No. I was just gonna. No. Sorry, you were.
I'm like, here we go, baby. Here we go. Bring it out.
This big, profound soliloquy, and then I blew it. Right, but no. But no, you do. You have to. I
timed it wrong. I'm the one. I take full responsibility for that.
You have to. Right, but you have to market your marketing. You have to be a marketer
yes.
to the rest of the C-suite. And if you take on that mindset, that they're my consumer. Right, the C-suite, the CEO is my consumer in this context. If you take that mindset on, I think it becomes easier. Doesn't mean it's going to be signed off quicker. But it'll help educate them, just like you would educate a consumer on the outside world.
So,
look, I just want to add one thing.
Go ahead, Bruce.
It's really important, based off what we're talking about right now, is for a marketer to be a badass. Okay? Be bold. I call it the 3 Bs. Be bold, be brilliant, be a badass.
I like it.
Okay? If you focus on that and don't be afraid of your job, okay, or losing your job, don't be afraid of that. You're in the driver's seat as a marketer. You got to go. You need to lean in. Don't sit back and then relax and enjoy the ride and check. Lean in. Because if you lean in and you ask and you share and you show and you get these quick wins, you will set yourself up in the organization for a very long-term successful ride. It's really important. But a lot of times it's easy to sit back and say, okay, I'm just following what they want me to do. You're not being a marketer. Sorry, you're not. You're being reactive, right? Instead of proactive.
Love it. Pivoting here before we wrap up, many number of companies, especially in this environment, they're either adding auxiliary or, kind of vertical products and services to their mix, or they're even kind of relaunching their existing products and services. It's tough to get staff right now. And so they have to be really lean and mean in terms of their go-to-market strategies. So whether it's new, whether it's additional to what your business already is, what are your your twos? That doesn't work. You're both of yours. Yeah, that makes sense. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm on it.
Much better.
What are your secret sauce, mechanisms for go-to-market?
Steve,
Bruce, go ahead, please. You take the ball.
All right. Well, some of the things we've already talked about, right? Making sure that you do have a plan, you can work the plan. You have a strategy that's not going to be long-term, short-term focus. Making sure that you've aligned with your tactics, because tactics are the ones that create action out of it all. Making sure you're leveraging those insights and results as you're really going to market. And then, what Steve and I like to talk about a lot is, wash, rinse, and repeat. That's great. But what gets forgotten is to kill it. So do a lot of A/B testing, right? ABC testing, because that's when you're going to start to prevail. Just putting it out there for the sake of putting it out there is not going to optimize you or optimize the funnel, right? So you want to make sure that you're constantly, when you're going to market, that you have enough content, you have enough support. Your tactics are really planned out accurately. And once again, we talked about earlier, you said the year of the marketer. Right beside that is the year of the analyst. You need an analyst. You need someone that can look at the data in a very subjective way. So you know that what you're doing is right or not right. So you can actually start to create different action.
I would just add to Bruce's point, and this is just me being simple Steve, which I always am, and try to keep things completely uncomplicated. The data and insights that Bruce referenced, use them and don't include your own. Meaning, far too many marketers will look at data and research and insights and think they know better than the consumers themselves. Right? You're not the target audience. You're just the messenger.
It's so missed all the time. It's so
right.
Missed.
It's your product, your service, whatever, but you are not selling to yourself. I don't care. I tell people all the time if I consult with somebody, well, we didn't like it. I don't care if you didn't like it. Does your consumer like it? Does the prospect like it? But so many companies will take the data and insights that Bruce just alluded to and go, no, I know better.
Well, and on top of that, Steve, and I'm glad you brought that up, is that if the brand work is not done up front and the messaging to understand why you should go to market, that's where you're going to fail as well. Is because
exactly.
Because if the leadership's saying I don't like it, that means they're not aligned to the brand strategy.
Great point.
That's the net of it, right there. So they're not aligned to the strategy. They're not understanding the messaging. And oh, by the way, they're not aligned to the target audience.
Yeah, right. So it's like a trifecta of failure. I mean, you're done. And but then here's the ultimate rub, though, and Bruce knows this as well as anybody, having been a CMO. Guess who gets the ultimate blame in this? The CMO.
Absolutely.
Oh, what do you mean it didn't work? You told me all these things. And then back to Bruce's point about being passive, if you're a CMO going, I'm so sorry, versus right up front saying, this is what has to happen.
Nailed it. That's why I said
nobody wants to be the bad guy, but somebody.
Yeah, but still, that's the marketing role in an organization, and it's not even a role; it's a department, right? Okay. That department is a very important part of it. You have to have operational support. You have to have sales support, right? If you don't have those, that stool is going to fall over. You have a three-legged stool here: marketing, operations, sales. If those three are not connected, it's going to fail. I'm just telling you, it's going to fail, right? Can it be successful? Exactly. Sure. But do you want to go knock the cover off the ball? Yes. Then get those three connected. That's the key. You have to have those three. It's the power of three, baby. That's what you have to have.
And finally, I'll leave. There's a reason the word silo is a 4-letter word.
Fair enough. Absolutely.
Wait, why? I didn't get that.
Well, you know that euphemism for 4-letter word is usually referred to the word.
Oh, I see what you did there. I got it. Okay. Bruce,
Absolutely.
before I forget, what's with the pin? What's going on with that?
Oh, this one here. Sorry.
I know it's weird. It's always opposite.
I know.
Like you go to like fix your hair and then you're bump the other side.
So,
Like, what the hell? I'm in an alternate universe.
Yeah, this is not a plug, but you know, when I was at Tailored Brands, and you know, when I got there, you got to remember, Men's Warehouse had been around for 45 years. Joseph A. Banks had been around for 110 years. So if you think about the heritage between those brands, they were stuck in their ways. Make no mistake about it. And to be able to change and transform is really hard. And so our partner that I had brought in was EP & Co. And their motto there is unthink everything. And I've adopted that. So that's what this pin is, unthink everything, right? And I love it. I live it. I applaud it. And I think everybody should do that as well. Because if you don't unthink it, you don't know if it's actually going to work or not.
Mm-hmm.
Don't follow the herd. Don't follow the herd. Create your own path. Create your own destiny. Create your own plan. You can't just pull shit off the internet and think it's going to work. Okay? Do your due diligence. Tell your story. Lean into the leadership. Show them that you're there to care and to drive revenue. Ultimately, EBITDA. That's what they really care about.
And theme of the show, I mean, B2B mentors, nobody can be successful on their own. And so whether it's a consultant, somebody else on your team that can hold you accountable to your goals, because yes, you should pave your own path. That's worked for me, right? When everyone looks left, I'm always looking right.
Yeah.
Right. When everyone's dressing casual on Zoom, I'm dressing up, as you know, for the respect and for the brand. But I have to have other people who have been successful to hand that fire down to me so that, you know, I can implement and not make mistakes that are silly mistakes. So there's kind of a fine balance there.
There is a fine balance there. Absolutely. Everything is about balance, right? And marketers understand balance. They need balance, right? And so take advantage of that. Don't lose sight of what balance truly means to you. And everything can be very overwhelming. I got it.
Yeah.
And I don't want Steve and I to sit here with you, Connor, and to show the audience that this is all easy. This is years of grinding, years of learning, right? And I will tell you that, you know, if you don't constantly teach yourself and learn, not just from, you know, yourself, but from others and your experiences, you're not going to evolve. Evolution is so important in marketing, in life. Like
it's also years of failure.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Well, I thought you two were just overnight successes. You had me sold on that. So I guess we'll go with the hard work route, which nobody wants to hear.
No. If you're not failing, you're not trying.
Absolutely.
I love it. So guys, before we wrap up, you're in a room with every Fortune 500 CMO in front of you. What would you like to impart on them? Action, inspiration, strategy, anything, you know, top of mind for you before we wrap up here?
I mean, for me, I'll start, Steve. I mean, for me, you're not alone. There's a lot of resources out there, and every C-suite, I don't care if it's a CEO, COO, whoever your leader is that you report to, you know, they all want to win, right? But they're looking for guidance. They're looking for you to lean in. So lean in, right? And I've said that many times on the show with us right now, but at the end of the day, you're not alone. Take advantage of the role you're in. Go make a difference. You can do that. You have that ability at the end of the day. So just don't think that you're in a seat just to be in a seat. To make a difference.
Yeah, I like what Bruce is going with the "you're not alone," and I'm going to take it on a slightly different path in that during my time at Forbes, I did well over 5,000 interviews, and a bulk of those were with CMOs. And if I had to pick one common denominator, is that they almost need to be reminded sometimes that they're human as well. And what I mean by that is so many of who I would speak to and I still have relationships with today, like Bruce, is that you have that human connection and they need to know that it's okay to be human, that no one expects them, at least they shouldn't, to be everything, to be all end all to everybody. And I think a lot of CMOs, and the bigger the brand, I think the bigger the expectations are. that they have to be everything to everybody at all times. And that means 24/7, weekends, no family life or anything like that. And I hear it so many times, and it literally breaks my heart to hear that. And I'll be that person. Hey, just vent on me, talk to me. And so many leaders have confided in me and kind of let their guard down, and it was very cathartic for them. So if I'm in a room with Fortune 500 CMOs, they go, hey, guess what? It's okay to be human. Okay, have a life, enjoy your children, enjoy your spouse, enjoy your partner. This is a job. This isn't your life, right? Because I think, again, so many CMOs, two things happen. The CEO puts ungodly pressure on them, but then they also read the tea leaves that says the CMO traditionally, and for as long as I can remember, Bruce, you correct me if I'm wrong, CMOs have had the average shortest term tenure in the C-suite.
Yeah, 2.5 years, something like that.
Isn't
Exactly.
it CTO? Isn't it CTOs?
As far as I know, it's always been the CMO.
Wow.
Or the CMO's been among the shortest.
Yeah.
Right. But the point is, they know that. So they go in, back to Bruce's point earlier, not to belabor this point about, oh man, I only got like 18 months, maybe 24 tops. So I'm just going to sit back and do what I'm told, because I know I'm going anyway. So just be human, right?
Well,
and get some help if you need it, and you're not alone.
Well, and the compliment would just see that at the end there, get some help. Join a peer group of other CMOs. And I've been a part of one for, I don't know, 5 years now. And it's the greatest thing in the world, because it's just like this conversation. It's unscripted. Nobody holds anybody accountable. It's all very open dialogue conversations, because guess what? We're all feeling the same pressure. We're all feeling the same madness. We all need the name support. Make no mistake about it. The greatest marketers of the world have a group, a peer group that they connect with and share.
Yeah.
And so I would say do that.
Relationships are everything, no matter what your job title is, right?
Absolutely.
And with that too, you guys are coming to our next mastermind, right? You're gonna be there because people want a little more of this.
Of course.
We'll be there. Absolutely.
Of course. As long as I don't have to dress up as much as I'm okay.
Nah, you do what's comfortable. You do what's comfortable. Bruce and I will take the show.
You guys,
listen, you can either be smart or you can look good. And we chose to look good today.
All right, I'll take this
today at least.
I don't know if I take that as a compliment or not.
Right? Trust me, it's a compliment. Trust me. I got you, bro. I got you. It's a compliment. Wait. I'm wrong eye, which I don't know. I can't even tell. It's like a mirror.
Yeah. And here's one more thing. I know that you asked about if there's anything else you can say to, marketers or CMOs or VPs or directors is, especially on the B2B side, make sure you have a single source of data as well, because there's so much out there coming in at you. But if you don't have a CRM in place and you're not looking at that data coming in for a single source to see if you can attribute anything, you can value anything, you want to make sure that you have that. That's so important. Fight for it, kick for it, scream for it. You got to have it, okay? And there are platforms out there, okay? And I don't know how you plug things or not, Ron or Connor, but there are platforms out there.
Plug away, man. Plug away.
And I've used them. I don't use them currently, but I've used them. You got HubSpot, CRM. You got SharpSpring. They have CRM as well. There's many out there that will offer these platforms for you to start at least. And once you grow and once you identify that you need more, then go get a bigger, better partner. But just because you don't have the funding means that you cannot start. You gotta have the single source of data as well.
We're gonna talk about that.
You're gonna stab yourself in the eye all day long saying, "Oh my God, this is what I thought it was." But after seeing this other data come in, that's not what it is. And then you look like a donkey. You don't want to look like a donkey.
Yeah. You want to look like a racehorse.
A thoroughbred.
Don't be a donkey, be a racehorse.
Exactly.
Bruce Hershey quote. I'm going to make some t-shirts. Don't be a marketing donkey.
Exactly.
We'll have to, we'll have you guys back again. We'll do a whole nother podcast and dive into that, because that's a whole nother category. Is there's 7,000 plus MarTech opportunities out there, and there's so much overwhelm that I think a lot of people are over reliant or over automating, and also not able to kind of get a focused suite of technology that actually works, makes their life easier.
Absolutely. Right. And
so
look, and the problem is with technology, and like you said, there's so much of it out there, is that it's constantly evolving. So to pick one that you think is perfect is probably not going to happen.
Doesn't exist probably, but you can get
there's no unicorns out there yet, right? They're building them, but they're not out there yet.
Guys, what's the best way to find you, follow you, get into contact with you?
For me, it's just my name, Steve Walensky. That's my handle on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. It's real easy. Or my site is CMO-Whisperer.com.
Yeah, and for me, my website is brucejhershey.com. You can go there. I'm on LinkedIn as well, Twitter. I even have a TikTok handle for marketing karaoke you can go to, that I sometimes have fun little stuff you can watch. But yeah, that's very easy. You can find us and ask us and hook us or whatever you want.
So those of you watching, listening after the fact, we'll have this published up on all the podcast apps here in the coming weeks. Make sure you connect with them. Probably LinkedIn is the one you guys use most, I would imagine, and follow them. And then make sure you attend the B2B Mentors Mastermind too, because one of these days I'll get these two in here and you'll get a chance to ask them your own questions directly. Guys, I'm so grateful to have you here. It's been an absolute blast. You're welcome anytime. And with that, I don't know what else to say. I was blown away.
It's pizza time.
It's pizza time, baby. It's pizza time. Bruce, I'll be seeing you. I'm heading out to St. Pete this week. So I'll be official resident within the coming.
You gotta come. Everybody
days,
loves it. So I look forward to having you in the shop.
I'll definitely come see you guys. I appreciate it. Stick around for one quick second while we wrap up here. Let's see. Okay, that did work. Everybody, again, make sure you go follow them. Go subscribe to the podcast. Share this out. And if you already know you need help, right? Part of your marketing infrastructure, everything comes back to content. You're doing ads, you're doing SEO, you're doing pay-per-click, you're doing email. Content is the fuel. So if you need help with this, you need help getting your blogs, social media, newsletter done, go to activeblogs.com, hit the What I Need Fast form at the top of the page. And with that, my friends, much love, make it great, and I'll see you on the other side.